one of the most important aspects of our life when we analyze how we're going to be happy is to understand how karma functions, how it works. And everybody knows about karma and the belief of karma, and you sow what you reap, etc. But the subtle mechanisms of how it works and how we can mitigate or nullify the negative aspects of it is strategically important for any wise person to take an interest in. And this covers several subjects which I think are greatly misunderstood in regards to using crystals as a method to strengthen our karmic disposition. First thing I'd like to explain very briefly in summary is that Paramahansa Yogananda once said that everything we do, say, think or act is recorded in our electrical body. Our electrical body, the center of which being our chakras, is like a tape recorder that stores all our resonant activities in a way that allows for the boomerang return at a later date. He also went on to explain that when the planets are in a particular position in the heavens, there's a electromagnetic vibration that is emanating from them that will draw out a resonance in our electrical body and hence bring that karmic return to fruition. That's a very significant thing to perceive, that our electrical body is really who we are, in the sense that our physical body is merely a puppet. And obviously when we die, our electrical body moves on into the astral universe and our physical body falls apart and rots away. Having conceived and realized the importance of the identity with the electrical body is a great way for opening the door to understanding how crystals and gemstones, especially touching the skin, can function to be a benign influence. This is a very, very misunderstood science, and I say that based on many books that I've read that like to make many contradictory claims about different gemstone materials without doing a lot of empirical analysis and wide field double-blind studies, etc. So consequently, the science of remedial gemstones is extremely in the disrepute threshold of most people's consciousness. Having explained that, it's therefore also important to understand why are crystals able, or faceted crystals, being symmetrical gemstones, etc., able to benefit our electrical body in a way that's going to actually mitigate or nullify karma. There are many vehicles that can improve our life. The greatest would be attunement to a great saint, be it Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, or any of the other many great avatars that have graced the earth, and attaining their kind grace and blessings. All the other modalities I consider to be lesser. Willpower, I think, willpower and prayer would come close to being at the top of importance, especially on the spiritual level. And then you've got a host of other tools, pujas, mantras, herbs, essential oils, etc. And within that framework you have crystal talismans or amulets or tools, instruments. And the difference with wearing a crystal against your skin is it does not require any willpower, it does not require really much effort. A bit of effort to save up the money to buy it perhaps, but once you're wearing a faceted gemstone against your skin, there's a shift going on in your electrical field. with your electrical body. But why do gemstones work? An intelligent person will immediately hear that question and be incredulous and cynical and skeptical. And they've got to first of all overcome this negation impression they have of themselves that they're a physical body. You're an electrical body. And once you've really digested and assimilated that concept about your being, then it's a little bit easier to be a bit more sympathetic to how crystals can work. Think of how a crystal is designed through the laws of physics, the laws of Mother Nature. It is a growth process structure of molecules in a geometrical alignment, creating this wonderful repetition of angled molecules. The unique characteristic of a crystal is that it's formed intelligently, and the molecules are in a perfect laser-like alignment. Now, when you get down to the deep study of the nanoparticle of what a molecule is, you'll notice that there's this amazing minuscule field of energy composed of an electron or several electrons, neutrons, protons, within the atomic structure. And they've discovered through the science of magnetics and superconductors and other discovery vehicles that the influence of the electron can ripple down an alignment of molecules when there's not an encumbrance within the structure. And of course ceramic magnets are a perfect example of that, where you have the polarity of the electron structure allowing for an amplification of the magnetic force, which is measurable using a Gauss meter or different magnetic instruments. However, there are many other forms of energy as yet not discovered or proven because the instruments of measurement haven't been made or discovered yet. And that's really the catch-22 of trying to promote the benign influence of crystals. It's subjective to people's consciousness and experience, and there's a lot of very imaginative writers out there promoting this wonderfully romantic field. When you have an alignment of the molecular structure, you, as I said, have an amplified vortex of electron energy radiating down that alignment. And when it touches the skin of someone's body, you've got the meeting of the waves of two electrical fields. You've got the electromagnetic radiation influence of the crystal, and you have the electromagnetic radiation influence of the different electrical fields in the human body. And the only tool that can confidently measure that interaction is the individual's consciousness, the individual's mind. And my job, my position of great privilege for the last 27 years, full-time, often 6-7 days a week, has been to talk to clients who respond to me in the testimonial manner of their experience wearing gemstones. And I take that responsibility very seriously. It's a very privileged role, and it's fascinating to learn what's going on, how things work. And it's that ongoing repetitive experience that guides my conclusions to having a discussion like this. When Paramahansa Yogananda wrote in the Autobiography of a Yogi, consultation with saints, prayer, yoga, meditation, willpower, gems and herbs can mitigate or nullify the negative effects of past actions, I've always tried to focus on how does gemstones, astrological gemstones, become included in that sacred passage. And you cannot prove when you wear a multi-gemstone bangle that a particular event in the future is changed. There's not a time machine you can forward or backwards on that karmic measurement. You can, however, get a correlating repetitive observation that reinforces itself continually through thousands of different individuals that say similar testimonies. And a particular testimonial that I get from many wearers of the meditation bangle and the astrological bangle is this, and it's extremely important to understand. Karma comes to us and we experience it. Circumstances, situations, things people say. But really, there's two sides to karma, and the smaller side of karma is what happens to us. The other really significant part of karma is how we receive that circumstance. We all know that, two different people can walk into a yard at a different time, and a dog will bark, and one person will go up and stroke it and play with it, and the other person will try and bolt out the gate, terrified it's going to bite them, for two completely different karmic reasons. But the dog is the same. The dog behaves the same, perhaps, and does not intend to bite either person, but one person resonates and picks up in a positive way, and the other person picks up in a more fear-driven, negative way. When we wear gemstones, many people have said to me that things that used to bother them, things that used to upset them, things that would disturb them, people that they worked with that really got their goat, got under their skin, really irritated them, no longer seem to do so. No longer have the power over their equanimity. No longer have the ability to emotionally bring up the garbage that makes them suffer. And I've heard many different situations from different people who have worn the bangles and analysed the before and after effects of it, who have constantly affirmed this paradigm that they're not as emotionally upset by situations that they've experienced in the past. And I've also had it where, I've had it in my own situation where about 27 years ago I was wearing a 9-gem bangle, and one day a particular issue really got my goat, really pushed my buttons, really took out the smoothness of the day. And I was revolving this scenario in my mind, and we all have a particular issue that will affect us, and this was definitely the one. Generally I'm not bothered by circumstances or hold on to things or repeat them in my mind. But this particular issue was really got to the core of me. And I was wondering, why is it so deep and bothersome to me that day? And then I put my hand in my pocket a while later, and I'd been to the gym and I'd taken my bangle off and I put it in my pocket and I forgot to put it back on. I slipped the bangle back on when I found it in my pocket. And then I noticed very clearly about 10 to 20 minutes later that this issue was still on my mind, still bothering me a little bit, but it was extremely manageable. It was extremely peripheral to the degree of energy, inharmonious energy I was getting it earlier. And that's a classic example of karmic mitigation, karmic nullification, when a terrible or perceived negative event occurs, but you don't take ownership of it, you don't buy into it, you don't identify with it, you don't allow it to push out the beauty in your day. And that's a very common and continual scenario that our mind is constantly conjecturing in a delusive manner or in a wise manner. And the people I meet who suffer a lot are very much the people who take life in a manner that brings pain to themselves. And when we develop detachment, not from our responsibilities, but from the drama that's out there, we become far happier and joyous in nature. And that's one of the very foremost benefits of wearing crystals, touching the skin, that have the right resonant frequencies in a balanced manner to strengthen and supplement the electrical body. Thank you very much.